Today we're going to be playing the Modern Warfare 3 beta. As you guys can see here, I'm already max level. The open beta just went live for PlayStation yesterday. I would have been able to start playing a couple of days ago, but I pre-ordered the game over on Xbox, and I didn't feel like it was necessary to pre-order the game twice just so I could get 2 extra days of the open beta over here on PlayStation. I'm not picky when it comes to like what platform I play my games on. I just happen to pre-order it every year on Xbox since I'm game shared with somebody. But anyways, I got 4 maps in the beta. They got Estate, Skid Row, Favela, and they just added Rust yesterday when the open beta went live for everybody else, and yeah, all the maps are basically the exact same as you remember them. That being said, even though the maps structurally are the exact same, they flow completely differently. The spawns are completely different too, or at least it seems like they're different. I don't know if maybe it's just because there's 4 more like familiar players playing this beta, so they're like constantly flipping the spawns, but I don't know, man. Something about the way that the spawns are in these versions of the maps just seems different from the original. But otherwise, yeah, if you played Modern Warfare 2 back in the day, you already know what you're getting yourself into. You already know these maps. I do gotta say, Rust plays like an absolute dream in Modern Warfare 3. And just speaking about Modern Warfare 3 in general, this game as a whole just feels so good to play. I was telling my mom about it because, you know, she also plays Call of Duty, and the best way that I could describe it to her was Call of Duty Modern Vanguard Cold War. Like, there is basically elements of all those games in here. So basically, between the shooting and the movement and just like the moment-to-moment gunplay, it feels a lot like it's a sledgehammer Call of Duty. Y'all know how Bethesda games always have that Bethesda stink to them. Not necessarily a bad Bethesda stink, but it's just like, you know, when you're playing a Bethesda game. I feel like that really applies to Sledgehammer Call of Duties as well. Like when you're playing Advanced Warfare, World War II, Call of Duty Vanguard, you know that you're playing a Sledgehammer Call of Duty. And again, that's not a bad thing. If anything, it's a compliment. Personally, I've always loved how those like Sledgehammer Call of Duties feel to play. There's just they always feel so good and snappy and like arcadey. And that most definitely applies here to Modern Warfare 3. Like this feels like a Sledgehammer Call of Duty, but it also has like the Modern Warfare elements. Obviously, we're in the modern setting. We got like modern weaponry, modern operators. Then the game's TTK is also much longer like it was in Cold War, so in that aspect it kind of feels like Cold War when it comes to like the gunfights themselves. The TTK is somewhere between Cold War and Black Ops 4. It's not as long as Black Ops 4 because Black Ops 4 was pretty long, but it's also not as quick as Cold War. It's somewhere in between there. Otherwise, yeah, I've literally only been playing the beta for a day at this point, and I'm already so excited for Modern Warfare 3, man. Don't get me wrong, I love Modern Warfare 2, and you know, I'll sing that game's praises until the end of time. You know, the hate for Modern Warfare 2 is absolutely overblown. I love Modern Warfare 2, but that being said, yeah, man, Modern Warfare 3, it's absolutely amazing so far. I know this is also another spicy take on my end, but I also loved Call of Duty Vanguard. I loved that game so much. Again, it's just, you know, it had that classic Sledgehammer feel to it, and that's what really matters to me, right? It's just like the moment-to-moment gunplay. When you're playing the game, does it feel good? If it feels good, then I'm gonna love the game. And maybe that's why there's not a single Call of Duty that I dislike, because I don't care about all the small things that all the other players like complain about. For me, it's about that moment-to-moment gunplay, because that's what I'm there playing Call of Duty for, right? And as far as I'm concerned, like, there hasn't been a single Call of Duty that hasn't ever felt good to play. Like, I feel like everybody can agree, like, on a fundamental level, like, when it comes to the way that the game feels to play, like, the gunplay, the shooting, like, how satisfying it is, like, Call of Duty always nails that, and you'd expect that, considering that, you know, it's an FPS game. What even just happened? It's a beta, so it's not perfect, but yeah, there is like occasional weird glitches like that, but yeah, I figured they'll have that patched out by the time the game comes out, because like, you know, obviously it's pretty common knowledge that betas are essentially the complete version of the game for the most part, aside from, you know, obviously we're missing some of the weapons that'll be there at launch, but there is still like an entire month until the game actually comes out, so there's definitely like some of the bugs that everybody's been reporting, kind of like pointing out during the beta. They'll definitely have more than enough time to get that stuff ironed out, since it is just smaller stuff. Because even for like the tiny bugs or little errors that there are, like there's nothing game breaking in here. Like even considering the fact that this is a beta, like this feels like a very solid build of the game. Even though there's only like like 20 weapons here in the beta, like it also feels really well balanced. Like there isn't any necessarily overpowered weapons, but there isn't any that are like necessarily weak either. It's just they all feel pretty good. The new perk system is actually pretty cool too. It isn't like Call of Duty Ghosts where they try to switch it up and do something just completely outlandish, which honestly, I kind of like the perk system they had at Ghosts. I thought it was unique. What am I saying? You guys know me. Literally anything Call of Duty does, I'll defend. I can't help it, man. I love this series, and you know, anytime that they try something new or they try to innovate, like I don't know, I always like it. It's something different. It's not necessarily a situation of me just mindlessly praising everything that they do. It's more or less I find the beauty in what they try to do whenever they try to innovate, whereas the rest of the fan base tends to just be cynical. No matter what Call of Duty does, there's always going to be that percentage of the fan base that finds some sort of way to hate on it or complain about it just because that's what not only Call of Duty fans do, but that's just also what people online in general do. It's just that nobody's ever grateful or thankful or happy with what they get. They'll always find a negative in it, and they'll always find a way to complain about it. Huh? I can't even see. I think that's the first game that I played in this beta where the game didn't end because we reached the score limit, but rather we just ran out of time. Literally nobody was picking up tags. Look, I have 20 confirms and the next highest on my team is 9. What? As far as I'm concerned, like, there's so many things that they've done right, not only in this beta, but just like in this game so far. When it comes to the fundamental level, like gameplay level of this game, like everything just feels so good here. It sounds good, it looks good. And then when it comes to like the beta itself, they're already just nailing it when it comes to like listening to the community and reacting on the feedback. They've already, even though the beta's only been out for like 2 days, they've already pushed out multiple patches and fixes for things that the community was pointing out and being like, hey, this is a bit overpowered. Hey, can you guys maybe update that? Could you tweak that? And they've already pushed out multiple patches. Like, everybody was complaining about how Battle Rage was kind of overpowered, which, yeah, it kind of was. And then they were like, okay, here you go. Here's a patch. You don't get that with Infinity Ward. And to a certain extent, you don't get that with Treyarch. I was talking about this a couple months ago in one of the Modern Warfare 2 videos. But basically, when it comes to the COD developers, Sledgehammer is all about the community. Literally anything that the community says, for the most part, they'll listen to and make changes as needed. And that's why Sledgehammer Games, it's one of those things where they might launch in a rough state, but by the time that the game is over and everybody reflects on it years later, goes back to revisit the game, they're like, oh yeah, this was actually really good. Like Advanced Warfare that happened, World War II that happened, Vanguard that is actually starting to happen. Everybody's starting to realize, oh yeah, by the time that the year ended, this was actually a really good game. And I'll say this till the day I die. Vanguard was a good game from day one. People just hated it because, again, that's what the internet does. And it's already happening for the beta of Modern Warfare 3. They're already pushing out these changes. Then when you compare that to the other Call of Duty devs, like, you know, Sledgehammer listens to the community the most. Treyarch, it's like a 50-50, 60-40 split. They'll listen to the community when they feel like it. And then when it comes to Infinity Ward, just forget it. Like, they're stuck in their ways. If they want to do something, they're gonna do it. They don't care what the community says about it. They want to make the game that they want to make. And to a certain extent, I can respect that, but to another extent, it's a little questionable sometimes. But for the most part, at the very least, I can at least respect what Infinity Ward is trying to do, right? Like, they have their mindset on the game that they want to make, and they're just that's what they want to do. And again, like, it's their game to make. Like, that's not necessarily for us to say. Like, we know what we're getting ourselves into with an Infinity Ward game. And again, it's not like that's necessarily a bad thing, because I feel like it's nice to have that balance of all the COD devs, where it's like there's that one developer that just kind of wants to do what they want to do. You have the one that like listens to the community and just makes the game like what the community wants. Then you have the other one that's like 50-50 split. And honestly, I wouldn't have it any other way. Like, I like having that balance of all the developers that are like kind of just, you know, oh wow, look at me, I'm popping off. I like having all those various approaches to the development of these Call of Duty games. Because let's be honest, when it comes to the Infinity Ward games, even though some COD players, you know, they might not like the fact how they don't listen to the community a whole lot, by the time that it's all said and done, like, their games, when it comes to like the identity of those games and the way they feel, like, there's a very strong like Call of Duty Infinity Ward sense and personality in it, you know what I mean? Like, go back and play Modern Warfare 2019. Sure, they might not have listened to the community for most of that year, but I mean, when you go back and play it, like, you know, the identity is there. The personality of what Infinity Ward wanted for that game, like, you could feel it. SMGs are pretty deadly in this beta too. I mean, they're not overpowered by any means. Like, you gotta be landing your shots and possibly even aiming for the head, but like, if you're landing your shot, oh yeah, they're good. I don't know if there's any SBMM in this beta. We all know it's gonna be there in the main game. Well, it's not even SBMM anymore, right? It's like EOMM, like engagement optimization matchmaking. So far, even despite that, like, but when it comes to like the 150 HP, like, I feel like even if there is SBM, or I'm sorry, EOMM in the final game, like, I feel like the increased HP might help to mitigate that, because it's still gonna come down to raw skill at the end of the day. Just because you're playing with a bunch of sweats that know how to like slide cancel, bunny hop, and be like morph into kangaroos around the entire map, that doesn't mean anything if they aren't able to land their shots and aim efficiently. And I've already seen that happening a ton in this very beta. Like, there's these players that can slide cancel, jump all over the place, go all crazy, but it doesn't mean anything once they get into gunfights because they can't aim to save their life. It just feels good to shoot people in this beta, man. I don't know if it's the sound, the visual, and it's probably just a mix of all of it, but it just, oh, it feels so good. Once you hit max level in the beta, you also unlock this variant of the one SMG here, the Beta Ripper, which honestly, man, yeah, it looks pretty sick. Oh yeah, I almost forgot to mention it, but there's also this new, like, tac stance thing. They were talking about it a ton when they were, like, starting to promote the game, and I wasn't exactly sure how it was gonna work, and yeah, as I assumed, it isn't very useful in the actual game. Similar to how, like, Blind Fire basically went unused in Call of Duty Vanguard, it's gonna be a similar situation here. Basically, you ADS, and then you'll see it says Toggle Tactical. You click the down arrow, and it goes like this. and you can, like, it's like an in-between between ADSing and not ADSing. You're a bit more accurate than you would be by just hip firing, but overall, you still miss enough of your shots, and it's not like it's much faster switching to this than it would be to ADS anyway, and considering how much more accurate you are when you're ADS, yeah, I don't see anybody doing tag stancing. I'm sure they're probably gonna have challenges tied to it now that I'm thinking about it. They're probably gonna have, like, get 100 tag stance kills. Oh god, I just remembered that we're gonna have to grind more long shots this year. And the way I see it though, we already have a good map for long shots. We got Rust, and if they end up adding shipment shortly after launch, which we know they will, then shouldn't be too bad. I just hope it isn't like what it was in MW 2019, like 100 long shots per gun. Please keep it like it was in MW2 with like 25 long, because even when it's only 25 long shots per gun, that's still like over 1,200 long shots, man. I'll take 1,200 long shots over almost 5,000 any day. Oh gosh, are we gonna have to grind out the MW3 weapons on top of the MW2 weapons in order to earn the mastery camo, or would we just have to do the MW3 camo? That's gonna be interesting. Like, if we only have to do the MW3 guns to get the new camo, then okay. But if they make us do MW3 and MW2 guns, since that'll be carrying up. Oh, we might have one heck of a grind ahead of us. Anyway, yeah, this is the MW3 beta. It's absolutely amazing. So if you have a PlayStation, hop on and play it. If not, if you pre-ordered it on another platform, you'll be able to play it on like Thursday, but otherwise you'll be able to start playing it, I think, like Saturday or Sunday. I highly recommend diving in and trying it out because it's honestly like really good, and you'll be able to unlock like if you hit max level, which I think is going to go up to like level 30 before the beta's over, you'll be able to unlock like, you know, like skins and blueprints and stuff like that for like the main game once it finally comes out. It doesn't take too long to level up, so yeah, I definitely recommend going through and doing that if it interests you. But anyway, as always, a massive shout out, thank you to all the Patreons and channel members, thank you to all of you in the low ballers here, and a bigger shout out, thank you to all of you in the big ballers here, Milo asking Emmy, Daddy, Maddie, and the biggest shout out, thank you all to all of you in the G tier, Run Avengers, Emily Cheese Girl, thank you guys so much, you guys are literal legends, I love you. Thank you guys for watching, have an amazing day, stay beautiful, I love you all, peace.